All right, and we are live. Hello, everyone out there in the wonderful world of Twitch. This is John, the GM for Growing Shadows, as I have been for quite some time. Tonight is our penultimate episode. That's how you say it, right? Penultimate?
That is.
Yep.
That is how you say it. Correct.
You could say it however you want, and I'd probably believe you.
Penultimate.
There you go.
You got to say it like Target, so it would be penultimate. You know.
It'd be penal timing.
No.
Oh no, I don't
No,
like
that
how
one.
where this
I
is
don't like
going.
that one.
Timing.
I found the one I won't accept.
Guys, you are appropriating my culture. It is penultimate.
Ooh,
there we go. Yeah, he
that
is
one's
the French.
good.
He is the one that
I-
say.
I'm just appropriating my parents' culture of everything has to sound semi-French.
Or just wrong. These are the people that say patio instead of patio, which I've never heard anybody else say that. Okay, let me say if in wherever you are, I will say in America with an American accent, one of them say patio legitimately. Please throw it in the chat.
I just say porch.
We're going out to the patio.
Patio.
That's why I had to qualify it with an American accent, because an English accent could.
Yeah, we got to go out to the patio. Eh.
The patio.
It's like a transatlantic. I tried for a transatlantic
yeah.
accent. Eh.
Yeah.
We got to go out to the
let's
patio.
go out to the patio. Yeah, see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Shut up, Lindsay.
Sorry, Twan. You never have to play with us again after next week.
It's a shame.
Please come back, please. But that
I'm
said,
down.
really quick, some announcements going on. So, Seriously Let's Play is off until next month. Next month we have quite a lot coming back. We'll do a few more announcements on it later on. But I will say that we have 6 creators from the Independent Game Design Network are going to be coming on to our show for Seriously Let's Play, running their systems. It's gearing up to be a great season coming up. But beyond that, we also have next week, we will be back with the Adventures of, the Voyages of, which is our Star Trek actual play. And then on Tuesday, we will be back with By Leaps and Bounties, which is our 7th Sea 2nd edition actual play. A lot to say there. And then, yes, next week on Thursday, all things going according to plan, which oftentimes doesn't with this show, but hey, that's how we roll. But next Thursday should be the final episode of Growing Shadows. So, kind of looking forward to that in a weird way of 5 years of plot getting wrapped up and having the moment where I will now be able to brag. I have finished a campaign.
It's a good badge.
Is this your first campaign to wrap up?
First to wrap up that I have either ran or played in. I have never been in a campaign that wrapped up.
This will only be my
I?
second, so.
Masks of Nyarlathotep.
Ooh.
Technically, it finished.
Also,
Technically,
any
poorly.
campaign where there was a
We didn't end
TPK,
well.
technically
It's
finished.
finished. Yeah.
Technically, yeah.
It didn't end. It didn't finish satisfyingly, but it finished.
But it finished.
I have never been in a TPK.
Me neither. I only
Gotten
have good.
close.
I only have good
Neither
DMs.
me. Right. Right.
Shots fired.
Hot take: if you TPK your players, you're not a great DM.
There's
What if
always
you're-
a way to kind of work around it, unless people really want it.
Yeah, what if your players, sometimes the players just kind of TPK from that. Sometimes the players do it to themselves.
Look, if they lemmings all run off a cliff, they deserve it. Yes.
I've done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So David in chat, we did not finish Wooden Dojo technically because this is the continuation of it, in my opinion. I mean, I see it as all.
We did. We did, David.
You finished that chapter.
We finished the Wooden Dojo chapter of the John Thompson Izu Empire arc.
But now it's all gonna wrap up, and I'll say two things on that. First, my goal is after this all wraps, I am going to be condensing it down into podcast form so that from the very first episode of the original Seriously Let's Play with the group that played then, all the way through the finale next week will all be one podcast is my goal. And I'm taking out all the dead space, a lot of issues, so even though it'll be going away, it'll be coming around again in another format.
Ooh.
All right. As the other thing is that even though Wooden Dojo Wooden Dojo and Growing Shadows is all coming to an end, I already do have my next game coming up in a next quarter. So many people on the server already know this. I'll go ahead and say it here. I am going to be launching Dragon Age. So we're going to be doing a Dragon Age campaign, and I do already have a table together, and the reason I'll mention it here, obviously it's going to be on Thursday nights when it starts, but we are going to be, part of my players at the table will be Eloy Lasanta, who wrote the Ninja Crusade. He will be one of my players for that.
That's really cool.
It's wild to me.
I'm so excited for you guys to start running that. I've been like, my brain has just been itching for Dragon Age in general, so I'm just like, oh.
Right, I'm ready to go. I want to go play the games again. I'm ready.
Oh,
No
Brew, are you
joke.
going to be part of the campaign?
I'm not.
But
I'm actually
how
gonna.
how can you play Alistair if you're not part of it?
How can I romance Alistair? Good soft boy Alistair. If I
No, it's better. You don't romance him, you become him.
I don't know if I could be that funny. I don't know if I could be that like charming.
I
I
know.
can certainly try. He's
I
is.
I
bad.
think an entire Twitch audience would disagree with you.
Oh,
Oh.
thanks. And Steven, apparently. Steven thinks I'm that charming, so thank you.
We lost you.
Sorry.
You gotta push the button.
Gotta have a button down. So, when last we left our intrepid group of players with their characters, they were finishing up a massive combat at a fortress that was roughly on the border between the land of Seed and Blossom and the new empire, the new Southern Empire, overseen by pretty much allies of the ninja. All your, compatriots gathered, attacking the fort in a massive combat. You, of course, were triumphant. Obviously, were continuing, but you also managed to take out Onimaru, who had been the leader of the Breakwig sect of the, the Recoiling Serpents.
And I got to punch a dragon in the face.
Wait, was it a dragon or was it a giant snake?
Ooh,
Big
snake.
scales.
It's
You tell your version, I'll tell mine.
like a dragon.
Worm, wyvern, dragon, wormling, whatever, snake.
So,
Gecko.
yeah, wow. Thank you, Bink. I see. Yes, thank you so much for being here tonight. 25 months in a row subscriber. So thank you so much for being here.
Long time.
But you defeat the enemy. The fortress falls. And you have this moment, finally, of just a certain level of clarity. Ever since you were kids, this land in this area has been occupied by the Izzo forces. As far as the people are concerned of land and Seed and Blossom, this has been centuries in the making. And now you find yourselves having to fulfill your part of the bargain. One of the agreements that was made was that the lands that Daiwa sat upon would be ceded back to them once that this was over, and that their forces would be joining with the forces of the Southern Empire to face the Izzo Empire. You have a moment where all of you are able to return to Danketsu. Say your goodbyes, gather your things, if there's anything even left from, memories, keepsakes of that nature, before you make your way westward and back to your new home, back to essentially the capital city, which is the Fireflies Retreat on the southern edge of the border. And now you are aware of what you need to do. The Emperor has dodged fate for quite some time. He was one of the chosen to be an immortal, to fix the world, and yet what he has done instead is broken it. And this is the point where we find ourselves, is the need to plan and the need to make your final journey. So, with that said, I want to ask that, in Hotaru no Koji, the Fireflies Retreat, what do you think that you would all be doing as you are preparing? Let's go ahead and start off. You're in relatively one of the most peaceful situations you've been in ages. What are you doing?
After saying goodbye to his family, Chet would probably find a nice place in the garden and meditate. Really take in the peace before the final push in the final conflict.
Okay. So you're in one of the gardens then, meditating. Probably spending time with your family as well?
Yeah, that would have, he would be with his family, he would say goodbye to them, and then how he would end his night. Moonlit garden meditation.
I am the night.
Swear to me.
What about Ronto? What are you going to be doing?
I don't think she's been in contact with her family for quite some time, so I think knowing that this is about to be a pretty big trek and she's going to be with allies and our group again, I think she takes a little bit of time to herself and takes Camu out and goes to the forest and not so much meditates, but just kind of chills, just kind of lays in the dirt and feels the textures of the leaves and stuff, and just kind of recognizes this is probably the last bit of peace and quiet that we're going to have for a little while, because things are going to be really intense and we don't know how it's going to play out.
What about for Guy?
We look up at the moon and we realize we're looking up at the same moon.
Ronto just goes, "Ow!"
And Camu joins in?
Yeah, of course.
We can all hear Ronto's awoo.
Ronto, shut up!
Now, as for Guy, he's probably going to be, one, visiting his parents, and showing them the new bling, because I don't think that they were expecting that. And two, after that, trying to research as much as I can on where the building, the fortress or palace that the emperor lives in, the layout of the town, whatever I can get my hands on, in order to kind of see if I can't find a some sort of cohesive plan to get us in there and deal with him. Also, do we know how to kill an immortal? Like, wasn't I like
You
some sort of key to that?
You are the secret weapon. It is. I think it's somewhere on. I think it's on your body somewhere.
As
Yeah.
far as
I think
So-
you have the knowledge. Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, we're just supposed to like whack him with you,
Oh,
and it'll just
no.
go.
We're just
That's
gonna
been my
load
plan.
you. We've got when we're back in Firefly's retreat, we find Takami's bow, and we just load you into it and fire you at the palace.
Crystal first. Point first.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ride
exactly.
the eagles to the volcano.
Lordy. So we're basically, as far as I know, going into this blind, unless we can find out how this crystal is supposed to kill an immortal emperor.
Well, you did read that book, didn't you? Maybe you just have to remember.
Maybe.
Remember.
I will say this: the spirits that you spoke with, the two young spirits, conveyed that all you needed to do was get into the presence of the emperor or get near him, and they imbued you with the energy to do the rest. Is the way they put it.
Listen, Guy's too skeptical to put it all on just that explanation. He needs to know more, so he's gonna be researching.
Right?
Now that I
do
look
not. Go on.
now that I look closely, your gym does resemble a proximity mine from 007.
Oh no, my head's gonna explode. You see? This is why Guy can't take it on just blind faith of two unknown spirits that have no, I don't know. I just don't. I don't like it. And I gotta calm myself down with some research.
All right, I'll go ahead and say that this is difficult research. If you want to know exactly what it is that they are looking for from you, you're looking at a 5, which is legendary difficulty. And so if you want to make that roll, you're welcome to. But while you're going ahead and doing the math and making the roll, I'm going to ask for Kyo. How is your character going to be handling this, moment?
Well, of course, I have to check on Mom and Dad. They have been sickly for a number of years, and so I will be making sure that they are continuing to be well cared for. They've had to rely on others to kind of focus on the business in my absence, since I was sent on a diplomatic mission for the coalition and for the new government. But yeah, I would check in with them, probably spend some time with them, however long we're in town, and let them know that I'm having to leave again, and I'm not sure when I'm going to be back. But I will do my best to assure them that I will be back. And I probably don't necessarily say where I'm going or what my mission is. I use it's of utmost importance that this stays close to the chest. Can't give a lot of details, but I'm headed north, and hopefully the return journey is an easy one, and I'll be back before you know it.
True. There's something as you're all spending this time. There's the ancient saying, you cannot cross the same river twice. And here you are, you've gone off on all these journeys. You've seen war. You've traveled from one end of 2 different empires, back and forth. And you have this moment where, there's this peace as you're with your family. But then it's like no matter what, it's almost like you're not really there. Everybody's enjoying their company, enjoying the time, but it's like the duty is always prying on you. And that evening, you all, you know, untangle yourselves from whatever it is you have been doing and make your way to a meeting room where all of you have the chance to plan and get ready. Uh, Thank you so much, Bink. I will go ahead and let all the players know you all have been given an extra point of personal karma. And of course, my players, there are 4 of you, so we have 4 karma in the pool base for the table.
Thank
I
you
need
so
to
much.
get all that set up. Just a second, y'all.
But as you walk in the room, the door slides open, you see each other as each one of you arrive. This feels familiar. The 4 of you back together again. This feels like where you're supposed to be. And I'm going to turn it over to all of you for how you wish to plan this out. But I will also ask, so what did Guy roll?
All right, so I have 2 thoughts, if you'll allow me. Either knowledge, intuition to just kind of suss it out, or knowledge and speed to read just as many books as I can, quantity over quality.
Let's go with the first option.
The first option, in which case I got 4 successes. All right.
All right.
And so,
Do we know if
what?
we? So the difficulty was 5. Do we have any table rerolls?
We do not have table rerolls.
Do we not start with any?
We don't.
Sometimes we do if we
Well,
got any
so-
left over.
It's up to the GM, I suppose.
Let me ask you this as a way to kind of do a little bit of bargaining, player to DM. Since I got so close, how about narratively, we make it so that it's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't connect the pieces until a critical moment in the plot, like a climactic moment, and then it comes together, potentially either like too late for me to actually make good use of it, or like I have to make a difficult decision. So, you know.
All right. I'm more than willing to go with that. I will say that as you are all gathered there in the room, looking over maps, Guy has his stack of books. Your old master slides the door back and steps into the room. And this would have been your trainer. Anybody remember names?
Asame?
Well, okay, I do.
Quietly.
I have names written down.
Checking
Hold on.
notes. I have notes, but my notes
Starts
are
with
so
an
lengthy.
A.
It does start with an A.
Akakage.
There you go.
Akakage and Ayami are 2 teachers.
I remember Yami.
The door slides open and Akakage steps into the room. A young woman, not dissimilar in age from all of you, follows behind him. But it is not Ayame. Hi, I'm glad you're all here. Most of you. I wanted to drop something off. I know you're planning something.
You don't have to sound like we're doing something suspicious. We are on official business.
I was watching the library and certain books were going. We have a suspicion of where your travels are about to take you. So I wanted to give you this. And he pulls out a map. It is the capital city of Daiwa.
I can make use of this.
I have something more with this. You see, there have been 2 previous attempts to infiltrate the city of Daiwa by the ninja. The original was the band of ninja with Danketsu amongst their numbers. And there is a temple on the outskirts of the town. A tunnel, a secret tunnel used for smuggling, runs to it from this river. And he points at the map. You'll find an entrance around here. And all you have to do is follow that route back to the temple, and that'll take you into the older sections of the city. The city is walled, and the guards there, you will find it nigh impervious otherwise. Unless, of course, you just want to try and sneak in broad daylight.
I'm contemplating it.
I mean, I'm sure that you think that comments like that are maybe lighten the mood or something, but again, we have been set a very important task, and I appreciate the map, but I don't know if I appreciate the attitude.
I didn't mean anything by it. I wanted to drop this off and wish you good luck. He just nods and sees himself back out the door. Slides close as it behind him. The young woman, however, stares at all of you.
Is she still here?
No, she follows him after a moment. And as the door closes, from the other side, following him, you hear her say, "God, they're still assholes."
Okay, can I do like a knowledge?
That's got to be the little girl that the one that it was sent to the old serpent.
Yeah. Can I do a knowledge perception to see if I recognize her?
Absolutely. Difficulty is only going to be a 2.
The little girl is several years younger than us, right? Or is she our age?
Yeah, she should be like 10 now.
Oops.
Okay. That's 1, and I got 2.
Perhaps heavily disguised, but you do see through it, and yeah, it was the young woman who went to go, train under the old serpent.
I just turned to the rest and it's like, she's one to talk.
Right? I mean, who the hell does she think she is?
I don't think I've never met a ninja that wasn't an asshole, so...
Right? I mean, this is kind of our calling.
It's like we're like heroes. We've gone out and done things to stop this war, and yet we come home and it's just like they still treat us like kids.
Unless you want to sneak in broad daylight. Like, how stupid does he think? Okay, this is...
I mean, if anything, like, they wouldn't see it coming, right? Because, like, who would be stupid enough to do that?
If anybody could do it, we could. Just saying.
Yes, Guy?
Oh, no, I was just saying is that I personally would prefer to go in the daylight.
Yeah.
I mean, sneaking in a tunnel. I mean, you would think that if there's, like, a known tunnel, that they probably know about it. Like, how have they kept it secret this whole time? And
does the map look like... Is that tunnel a part of the original drafting of the map, or was that kind of keyed in later?
Keyed in later, it looks like.
So it could be secret still.
Do we know if we're friends with any celestial moles?
No, just the boar-headed guy.
That guy, I guarantee you that guy can dig.
And the bear.
And the bear can dig too.
I'm friends with that guy.
But he's big boy.
Yeah, he could probably change his size. I don't know how celestials work.
I don't either.
So all things considered, there are notes of planning from a GM perspective going forward. I'm going to ask a few questions. Uh, there are roughly your first portion of your journey it takes place here in the Empire, in the Southern Empire. It is fairly safe, an opportunity to make your way through the grasslands. But then you need to decide: are you going to try to go by ocean to arrive, on the other, side of the continent? There is a thin kind of peninsula between the two nations, where the old, recoiling serpent lands were. That you could use that instead and go by land. But so the question is, are you going to try and get across to the other empire by land or by sea? Let's start off with that question.
I'd
Which is-
prefer land.
I mean, then we could take our
I do
wagon.
too.
Every time we go by sea, we
We
get
get in a sea
attacked.
battle.
I like
Every-
land battles more.
Granted, every time we go by land, we do get in a land battle.
This is true.
So many land battles.
But I'm more used to fighting on land.
And again, it's less logistics to try to find something that can carry the wagon. Because even if we go by sea, we're still going to have to travel at some point by land.
And we can't do my plan if we go by sea and can't bring the wagon.
Are we leading our allies with us, or are we going ahead as just a small squad?
That is something I'm leaving up to this group here.
Oh.
I don't
I think.
go for it.
Oh, I was going to say. I think we are better off by ourselves. We can move quicker, more quietly. We could pass ourselves off as something not military related, and let the army move, because it's going to move far slower.
I
And let
agree.
the army, because the army's probably going to do a pincer maneuver, and have some come on land and some come on sea.
That was
So-
my next thought. Do we want to send some of them and let them? You summed it up.
We're on the same page. I was going to say very similar things.
Great minds. We've all worked together long enough.
Besides, if we bring too many people, again, we can't do my perfect plan, which is walk through the front door.
Right.
Yo,
I think
you've been able to talk us into a lot of places that we're not supposed to get, as if it's some kind of character feature that you have.
right.
There's
So-
like
So
there's
hear
a
me
lot
out.
of. Go ahead.
You're a traveling merchant. That's a thing. Like, we don't have to lie about that. What if we just say that we've got really cool, like, spices and fabrics that we want to show the Emperor?
Right. I
We
mean,
got those.
They'll just let us in, because we're cool.
actually, can I spend a karma and say that while I was with my parents and kind of catching up on the business, that there is a reason for a shipment to go to Daiwa, and I may not tell my parents, but I tell whoever was going to do that. I'm like, oh well, I'll take care of that.
I'll let you spend my personal karma to do that.
Ooh, GM.
I would say that bare minimum, just getting across the border is going to be 2 karma.
Okay, so mine and Stevens.
And then if it gets you all the way to Daiwa, the city thereof, I'm going to say it's 3.
Take mine. I like when we just walk in the front door. That's fun.
You
It
never
usually
see
works
it
out.
coming.
It usually works out for us.
They don't expect their enemy to just knock on their front door
They never do.
and say, "Hey, can I come in?"
I'll dress
Hey.
up like the urchin again.
yeah. I've got fancy textiles and spices from the land of Seed and Blossom. And I mean, the Fujishita name is well known. It's not like me bringing in spices and textiles from the land of Seed and Blossom would be suspect.
We got seeds from the land of sesame.
Mm.
The finest silks.
Bake them into your bread.
Maybe I bring bread too. Recipes.
We could break bread with the Emperor. We could become friends with the Emperor. What if we just join the Empire, guys?
What if we just plot twist?
I'm just saying.
So next season,
Right.
I'm just
all
saying
new
we haven't
characters.
explored all our options.
It just becomes like a sitcom, and we hang out in his palace, and it's very like Seinfeld. We just have weird antics going on.
come and knock on our door.
What's
Like,
this emperor
we
gonna
got
do
lots
with
of
these 4
ninjutsu.
crazy kids?
For some reason, him and Guy just never end up in a room together.
Guy
They
gets
don't even
distracted
believe
by
the
the
other
first
kids.
library in town,
I
and he's
would.
just gone.
He's there for episode 1 and then just gone.
All right.
So that's our plan, John.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna
be
side
prepared.
with the emperor.
So we spent 3 karma to say that I have a shipment that can get me to Daiwa. That would, I guess, provide the proper documentation to make the travel through all the lines of conflict.
I will pack fine clothes for all of us. I will borrow clothes from my brothers and sisters for the other party members.
Nice, nice.
Because if we're going to the palace, I don't think we can get away with urchining.
Oh, you're gonna have to shower again, Ronto.
God,
Hot
dang it.
springs.
Or you can hide in the smuggler holes.
The smuggler holes.
We'll just
the
put a
things on
bunch of
the wagon.
we'll just put a bunch of stuff a bunch of potpourri in there so they can't smell you.
The smuggler holes.
Just rub it all
I don't-
over.
I don't remember what they're called, but that's what I call them.
No, I mean it's the little
Smuggling
hidden compartments. It's
Yeah,
the hidden
yeah, yeah.
compartments in the wagon. Yeah.
We'll make it work. Look, for you guys, if I have to take a bath, for you guys it's worth it.
Toronto's third bath. Toronto's third bath.
Ever. She's 20.
Jesus.
It's momentous.
Well.
It's the gift.
It's a worthwhile cause.
Yep. So what's your next question, GM? We answered those.
All right. Well, I think we know what we're doing.
Guys, I think
Yeah.
this is gonna go very smoothly.
Right.
Like every plan, we will get to step 1, and then it will all fall apart.
We'll forget what we're doing and we'll just wing it.
We're just gonna start. We're just gonna do our new MO. Get there and just start bullying everybody until we get where we need
That
to
does
be.
seem to
I
be
mean-
the MO.
It works so good, and what more could you expect from a couple of teens and early 20-somethings?
Right?
Right?
We're just
I mean,
we're entitled.
We're practically the Breakfast Club of ninjas.
practically. Yeah, I'm the littlest one at 17.
No, Dad. What about you?
I'm just gonna start scratching the dandruff out of my
Yeah.
hair.
And drawing with it. Yeah, so I'm gonna start prepping the wagon with I will probably on my way out though look for Akakage to probably apologize and probably ask, why are you carrying a little girl around with you? Like, why did you bring her into that meeting? I mean, you brought her for a reason. It wasn't just a showpiece.
All right. I'll go ahead and say that you do find Akakage, and he is you find him in a courtyard not too terribly far away, and he is training her in the ways of the hidden strands.
Oh, interesting. And so I'll watch this, and I'm going to ask him why, or I'm going to say, I thought she learned the way of the recoiling serpents.
They stop, and you watch for a while. It's very reminiscent at points. She is performing a lot of the same routines that all of you performed. He has a small field area set up with bamboo shoots that have been thrust into the ground, creating a small fortress, small little forest area that the shoots are at different angles, and she is doing a series of jumps and springs from each of them. And they both stop though when you mention, and he says, "Oh, no, she actually chose not to follow them. During her, rite of passage, she actually said that she would rather join the Hidden Strands, much to the old serpent's displeasure."
Very interesting.
So now she is currently my only student.
I mean, there's other kids around here, right? They just...
There are, but sadly there's a bit of disfavor for allowing your children to become ninjas. I foresee that whenever this all ends, many of the clans will disperse back to where they came from.
I mean, perhaps. But my hope is that if it's ninja that end this, then maybe that perception will change.
I hope so. I really do wish you the best of luck, Kyo.
Thank you, sir. We do need it. We've done a lot. And honestly, we probably couldn't have done it without your training. I'm still a little sore about some of the missions you sent us on, but they have all led here, so... But I do want to say that should anything happen, at least keep an eye on my folks.
I'll do it. No question, no reason, happily. But I'll say this, Kyo. There's nothing I taught you that, honestly, you didn't already know. Maybe it took some time, but more than anything, I wanted to keep you and your friends alive.
Here we are. Well, I have to go get some things in order, but I believe we leave tomorrow. So, I guess train her well.
And the girl just kind of smiles, but it's a sneering smile, that proud of, oh, I'm gonna be good.
Yeah, make sure she turns out to be an asshole just like the rest of us.
Oh, she's ahead in that game. And you watch as a rattan ball used from the dodgeball games smacks him in the back of the head, thrown from her.
She's gonna be the greatest ninja of all time.
He forgot his own lesson. He didn't use his key.
In fact, I'm going to look at him and go, use your key.
He nods and he springs after her. The two of them now mock fighting amongst the bamboo. But the next day, I suppose, your journey starts, yes?
Yes, indeed.
All right, so as always, with any journey, it begins with the village. And the village is your opportunity to plan and prepare, or at least know just how well you do. The base level of every journey for the start of it is a 0. So, who wants to take that test and see if you can get some raises for everybody?
It's usually Guy or myself that takes the first. So I mean, it'd be what, navigation and stuff. Let me see where my stats are. It'd be travel, I think. So, just to set a route, right?
Yep.
So yeah, mine is knowledge and I would say knowledge and travel, which would be a 3 and 3. Let me see if I have anything useful for that. I don't. So, yeah, I can roll that.
Do you want to
what is-
spend
how-
any karma?
I'm gonna say yeah, just to try to get some advantages down the line, if that's all right.
You got it, so it'll be 7 total.
And what is the target number?
0. Every 3, every boost, 3 boosts you get, or every 3 successes you get you a boost.
Okay, cool. Okay, one moment. All right, I got 3. Woo!
All right, so that gets you three successes total. All right, so that's 1 boost in the pile for everyone else that y'all can apply down the line with testing. That said, the river. River is the next section of every journey. It is all about pace and distance, and you are making your way across the Southern Empire, heading back towards the Adarashi Sea, I believe is what it is. They're on the eastern side, heading towards the lands of the recoiling serpent, but also the border between the 2 empires. For a time now, there hasn't been much conflict. There are skirmishes, but it's not just dire conflict like it was before. You pass armies, soldiers training, mundane soldiers, not necessarily ninja. They're along the border to maintain it. And this is going to be your next test. And I'm going to say difficulty, because of the actions that you took ahead of time, arranging that there would be papers and reasons with, the Fujishita family's name and crest to get you across the border for transporting, goods for trade. So I'm going to set the difficulty at a 2. Who would like to take on this portion of the journey?
I'll go ahead and take it.
All right. How are you going to do this?
How about, let's say that Ko's indisposed for some reason and I'm riding the wagon right now. I'm going to go ahead and roll Deception Persuasion, if you'll let me, to kind of pose as an employee of the Fujishita Trading Company. And here are our papers. We are unassuming. Please don't check our goods. That sort of thing.
Sheriff of Nottingham, all the way.
Exactly.
All right. And did you have a preferred dice pool that you were looking at? Were you going for deception or how?
Deception and persuasion.
Deception, persuasion. Sounds great. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 successes.
Wow.
Okay, so that gets you an additional boost.
Woo!
So that's 2 boosts to go down the line on future tests. I didn't even get to read off what could happen if you had failed. So congratulations there.
I was a natural performer.
The Forge. As you are traveling, you now are on the other side of the border, and battalions of ISO army soldiers are on the move constantly. You come across companies of these soldiers who seem to take note of you and watch you as you pass, but not paying too much attention. I am going to say that at this point, I'm going to throw a little bit of an extra curveball in there. They are hungry, and they are desperate, and some of them are even destitute at this point. They have been at war for so long in an army that doesn't seem to take care of them. So I would like to say that the difficulty is a 4 with the Forge, because the Forge is all about overcoming enemies and obstacles. Who would like to take this test?
I can take this one. Could I do discipline and perform for myself and to instruct the others on the best way to, like, on the best way to, like, present themselves, so that we appear to just be traveling merchants and, like, don't really get noticed and don't really get spoken to.
Blending in.
Blending in.
All right. I am going to say that should you fail, you're going to be looking at a penalty of, let me see here, pain. As just in sheer numbers, they would try to overtake the wagon and steal from all of you, perhaps getting in a couple cheap shots. They're hungry. But
Okay,
you have an opportunity to overcome this with your test. So difficulty was a 4.
And we have 2 boosts on the table?
You do have 2 boosts on the table. Do you want to use those for anything specific?
Can I use one for an extra dice?
You can indeed, absolutely.
All right.
We also have 3 karma.
Feel more confident. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 7s are successes, right?
Yep.
4. I did it.
Right on the dot with nothing to spare.
Yep.
All right.
Save nothing for the trip home.
They allow you to pass, and you they manage to maintain their ranks. Their captains pushing them on. After a while, they just don't seem to pay as much attention to you.
All right, guys. Eyes straight ahead. Just don't look at them. Just like, glance at them, but don't look. Like, if you don't make eye contact.
I want to invoke and fight something. It's been so
No.
peaceful.
Just don't. Just look straight ahead.
All right. The next section is that you find yourself in the area known as the Cradle of Life. It is a province that, near the opening of the Ninja Crusade, nobody claims this. Nobody claims who did it. Again, these are the lands that were assaulted. The land's been poisoned. Nothing grows here. To your north, this is roughly the same lands that the Pack of the Black Moon, the hidden village that was destroyed, is near here. So you are making your way. There is the water here. You cannot be certain isn't spoiled. There is no food. I'm setting the difficulty at a 3. Who would like to take this test?
I think I'm the last one.
And I think it makes sense for Ronto because she kind of lives off the land and stuff. So this might be
Her
this might
time
be
to
the best
shine.
thing. Yep.
All right. And you are the last one. You do have 2 boosts still on the table if you would like to turn them in for... Oh, sorry, 1 on the table if you would like to turn them in for anything.
And we have 3 karma. So
Yeah. Let's see. Potentially just an extra dice. So we are near the ruins of the old Pack of the Black Moon. I think before I choose my dice, now that we've destroyed the serpent or sent the serpent back, does it feel any different than the last time we were near? Because last time we were near, we visited the spirits who were very much in unrest.
It does feel different. There is not nearly the same feeling of unrest or more restlessness more than anything. Things have calmed here greatly. In fact, as you are traveling, you are seeing the signs of some life returning. Like you might see, little copses of grass appearing occasionally. And that's about it. I mean, other than that, if not for the rain occasionally, this would be Dust Bowl situation.
Yeah. And I guess my goal is just to travel us through it.
Okay.
Just double checking. Okay. Then.
Well, and remember, you have control of the narrative at this point.
Okay.
So if you want to say that you're going, however you can apply your tests in these situations or your skills, you have the moment to create the narrative as well.
I think I would like to use, and I'll try to paint a better picture of it story-wise. I think I would like to use survival and empathy to kind of read any traces of where the remaining spirits, as they've been finding rest, have maybe left us little kind of like grace points of like life, like fresh grass, like you were talking about, safer places from the blowing dust and things like that, and just kind of trying to read out the like little peaceful spots that have been left behind by happier spirits.
Okay, let's go for it. So you said you were going to use survival empathy?
Survival empathy, and I'll go ahead and use that dice for a boost.
You got it.
And what was the difficulty on this one?
Difficulty here is a 3.
Got it. And then I guess for good measure, do you guys mind me using a karma?
Go for it.
Go for it.
You. Okay, I think that should be pretty good. Okay, come on, spirits. I need you to like me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 successes.
All right. You've used up all the boosts that you've earned along the way, but at the same time, you have succeeded in the journey. You managed to find, at one point, one of the moments stands out for you, and it's a boulder that just in the mist, in the distance, and the top of it is worn away in such a way that there is fresh water that is sitting on top of it. The base of it has, some grass has grown around it, and there's a small hole near the base, which, as you pull up, a fox, kind of sees you dart, its head kind of swivels up and it darts off into the distance. But Camus finds you some field shrews.
Cool.
Which, if none of the rest of you eat, he of course does.
I'll make sure it gets divvied up. And this is the tail end of our journey, so rations are probably dwindling.
I ate all the cheese puffs again. The callback to episode 2.
You stay there for the night, and the next day you begin to push onwards. You find your way finally to the river that runs south from the Empire, from the capital itself of Daiwa. And you begin to make your way up north. There are roads here, actual paved roads. Not I shouldn't say paved, but pounded in flagstone, essentially, to kind of give it, the feel of a road, even out here in the wilderness at this distance.
Yes. Here they are, all the good intentions of the Empire laid before us.
Just pretentious, impractical.
This truly is the road to hell.
Chet's doing that weird voice again.
Chet keeps quoting Dante's Inferno, and we don't know why.
So as you're making your way, you begin to see the city in the distance. Pristine white walls, roughly about 20 feet high. A singular, solid wood gate, double gated, slate roofs on these walls. There's not even guards walking the top of them. It is a slated roof. A contingency of soldiers at the door sees your symbol, sees your papers, and they just pretty much wave you in. And you're greeted by a small throng of people, merchants going in and out, goods flowing in and out, which really wouldn't be too much of a really odd thing to you, except the moment you pass through this wall and into the capital city of Daiwa, it's almost like you've gone to a different world. The yards of the buildings themselves, I mean, you're starting off in kind of a hotel district. There are buildings aplenty. People are well-dressed, out in the open, cheerful. Everything has a certain look to it of being well-maintained and well-manicured. To the point that it's very much like Hotaru no Koji, but even to another level. People are working, calling out to you as you drive in, welcoming you, and shouting out, "Hey, we do have rooms here for rent. Come on in. Please rest yourselves here. We have a special this evening." And there comes a point that you are entering even further in, that you see that the city has workers moving through in groups, wearing a uniform, cleaning. Which is something that you're like, I've never seen something like that. People, like there is a civil corps moving through the city, maintaining it.
This is way too nice. This is way too clean, way too nice. I don't think we're safe here.
I look in a grocery store. Does it look like the window, like through the front window? It's just like the grocery store is clearly fake food, and it's a fake background. In fact, this building is flat.
Not so much that, but
okay.
It is. Think of almost a level of perfection that it is like a theme park. The bushes, the yards, the fences, the buildings, everything looks too perfect.
I think Ronto gets kind of weird about walking on ground and dirty bare feet, so she hops back into the wagon because she's afraid of getting in trouble for leaving footprints on the ground.
Just get in the wagon, kid.
I'm staying in the wagon.
And a few people, I'm gonna say that instead. You have a moment to look at the map that Akakage gave you. This district is it is shown. To your west is a area for warehouses, and alongside of that is going to be a section of the floating city, pleasure district, clubs, things of that nature, uh, drinks, gambling, and everything else. Beyond that is another section, which is the noble section of town. These are going to be the larger estates. Akakage does have, like, scribbled in there in pencil that many of these are abandoned.
Many of the estates are abandoned?
Yes. And that makes sense because you remember the swordsman that you met there in the City of the Spirits. His family was, dishonored by the Empire and kicked out of their home. Their lands were seized. And that's not an unusual tale where entire families were just driven out of the city. So all of their estates still stand empty. Perhaps squatters and other things are in them, but yeah.
We need a place to crash.
We've squatted at an abandoned house before.
Yeah, but that was a ratty old shack. Let's squat with style and class.
I mean, we have grown since then.
That's true.
Yep. So I leave it up to you to decide, and obviously hotel district versus trying to find some place where there is nobody.
I say let's at least explore the estates. See if we can't find somewhere. I mean, you are a noble, Chet. We may.
I know how to conduct.
Yeah. Not every guard is going to know every house and who belongs in it.
I think it's weird that this part that we're currently standing in is not considered the nicer part of town. There's a nicer part of town that apparently we're going to go potentially squat in.
Yeah.
How does the city maintain that?
They've got janitors and street sweepers, clearly, and
Well,
lamplighters.
They're unionized, so they're custodians.
So let's go ahead and get a travel and knowledge roll. Travel because the obvious. You're searching, you're moving through, trying to maintain a, not look too out of place. But at the same time, knowledge for one of you. And remember, you cannot team up on these tests. If somebody wants to provide the travel and somebody wants to provide the knowledge. The knowledge is going to be looking at the various crests that are going to be on the gates to these different estates to see if you know which ones are abandoned or not.
So I have a 3 in travel.
I also have a 3 in travel.
Me too.
Okay.
I have
a
1.
I have a 3 in travel and a 4 in knowledge.
Okay, then you do have the better one. And actually, being able to identify the things, it kind of makes sense that it would be you.
I can do that. I can do knowledge. Someone else wants to do travel.
Well, you could do it all.
I could do it all.
3, yeah, we all have the same on travel, so.
We don't use this mechanic a lot, guys. Let's do it. Since we're the same, let's just do it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
Then let's split it up. Okay.
You my friend.
I'll help.
Oh, I got 5.
I got
2 10s and an 8.
I got 2 10s too, so that's
Aww.
so 4 for me. Yeah, we kicked ass.
2 10s, friends.
Yeah, so that's 9, John. 9.
Wow.
This is what it's like to have rich friends. They team up and they get it done.
This is why we're best friends.
So I'm going to say you get 2 boosts off of that.
I hope so.
I will say I would recommend putting those into karma for the, so basically each one's going to give you a point of karma. But you managed to find your way to an estate. You actually, funnily enough, make your way past a playground. Like, it's a children's playground that is a manicured park amongst these districts that's just sitting open. Nobody's even using it.
There's not even dirt in there.
Guys, out of character, I've been past this park before.
I can picture it,
as
yeah.
another character, I'm pretty sure.
And
Laughter of children once echoed through this place, but no
Oof.
more.
Hey, you know what? He just got 5 successes. He can use the voice all he wants.
you
The
find an
Empire
estate.
must pay.
It's
There's no-
empty. There's no one here.
There's no,
And
like,
you're able to, yeah. The gate kind of swings open. Looks like maybe somebody tried to ransack it earlier. You take your wagon and your mules through, closing the door behind you, barring it a little bit better. And you have a safe point to consider your options. You're here.
Chet runs deep into the house because he kind of understands the layout of these kinds of houses. And then you just hear echoing throughout the house, "Dibs!"
What did he call dibs on?
Probably the master, the largest bedroom. No one, Chet. It's probably got a training room attached to it, or something he can turn into a training room.
It's got a walk-in closet that I'm going to turn into a training room, guys.
See?
There you go.
What's a walking closet?
She thinks it's an enemy. Well, I'm coming.
I want to get ready to fight some furniture.
Her and Kamu go off to find a walk-in closet.
All right. This does put us pretty close to our halfway point for the evening. If we want to go ahead and take a 10-minute break here, and when we come back, we can talk about infiltration or whatever it is you want to do. How's that sound, everyone?
Sounds good to
Sounds
me.
good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I got to refill my water.
All right, everybody. We are going to take a 10-minute break. We will return soon. See y'all all back here for the next portion.
Stay
Mhm.
hydrated, everyone.
All right, we are back, everyone. And our intrepid group of ninjas now find themselves in the capital city of Daiwa. They have a goal. Whether or not they have a plan is a whole nother thing.
We'll
It's a
figure it out.
concept.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah. I mean, the map that we got from Akakage just showed us how to get in the city, right? He had no grand wisdom for how to get into the palace.
Look,
Not at all.
I read all I needed to read of Sun Tzu's The Art of War. And that was the first 4 words. All warfare is based. So I think we're ready.
Nice.
Oh, lordy.
If you were in art school, we would ask you to unpack that for about 20 minutes.
Oh, unpacking. Yay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I assume once we've all called dibs on our rooms for the night, where are we? Are we just kind of keeping the mules and the cart outside?
I assume there's a stable in one of these old houses.
For
You know,
9
these
successes.
estates.
Oh, yeah.
For 9
pretty
successes, there's a attached garage, and every room has an ensuite.
It's a 6-car garage. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, when John was describing the playground, my mind must have blanked because I thought he was basically giving us. I thought the hideout was our playground until we said we entered an estate, and I was like, "Oh, this is what I'm talking about."
No, I wasn't going to do the playground thing to you, no. Although I was this tempted to say it was the Sakamoto estate. You know, bring it all full circle, but no.
All. But, well, yeah. Yeah. Everyone has their own bathroom. So,
Nice,
get scrubbing,
nice.
Ronto.
As long as there's still running water everywhere, yeah.
You just hear
Straight from the
Ronto
Sealed House.
scream. It's like, it squirted water at me. We
We
invented
all
the
run
bidet.
in, and she just tried to use the bidet. Yeah. I am reminded of the three of us exploring houses on Animal Crossing together. That's what I'm reminded of. So.
I love pooping in Animal Crossing.
I just want iron. I don't want the rocks to break.
But yeah, so I say we claim our places, we get a good night's rest, I'll tuck the wagon away, probably have some basic, I look for food for the mules, they're taken care of, everything's fine. And yeah, we probably need to, convene around some food, and kind of determine, we'll look at this map that Akakage gave us and see if there's anything that could help us perhaps infiltrate into the actual palace walls, or if we're just gonna have to, wage our own little private war. When, this is kind of an out of character question, but when did the army, I assume that, we talked about an army following us?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have an idea of when that might arrive?
So my feeling was that you were trying to outpace them quite a bit so you could get in before the walls were closed. But were you all expecting them to push this far into the capital, or were you expecting them to draw forces away? Because I was kind of leaning more towards them drawing forces away.
That's fine. If that's what they need to do, that's cool.
That was more what I was thinking too. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, go ahead.
So I do have two plans. Getting in with the merchant shtick worked. I don't fully know if we can actually get into the palace with the merchant shtick. We can try. I'm not opposed to trying.
Yeah, I just meant to get into the city that way.
Yeah. Okay. Then plan phase 2. Then we're in phase 2. We're gonna start off with Thor, but okay, we're gonna. I put on some enlightened robe, actual robes of the enlightened. And I pull out a bunch of rope. And I'm just like, who wants to pretend to get captured?
I have actually always wanted to do a plan like that. So,
okay.
Where are you going with the plan first?
I will tie you guys up and lead you to the palace. Because you are the ninja who have been decimating our fortress, and I am here, or forces, and I'm here to bring you before the emperor for your grand punishment. Because all we have to do is get Guy near the emperor.
I have a question.
That's the
about
goal.
That. I have a question about the guy near the emperor part.
Mm-hmm.
Once Guy is near the emperor, what do we do with them?
We don't know.
Do they touch foreheads? Do they hate each other?
All we were told was the cryptic things that immortal beings always do, and they were just like, get them near each other.
And you'll know.
And then we were like, what do we do after that? And they were like, bye. And then they faded away.
I mean, they were they were the equivalent of immortal 8-year-olds, right? So it kind of makes sense. No, I mean, I think if we can get Guy in there, I think something's gonna happen, because we're gonna have to, whether it's us or Guy is overcome with something that we're like, hey, we know who and what you are, and your time has come. Your replacement cometh. Although I guess Guy's not replacing him, but I mean,
we don't know that.
Your time is up. You've taken too much time. You're on borrowed time now. Something cool. We'll workshop it.
So
I like our priorities there.
Time for bed.
Eat my hammer?
He's gonna take a dirt nap.
That's right. That's right.
I guess, let me ask Guy. You're the guy with the jewel in your head. What do you want to do? I don't think anybody's asked you that yet.
I have some concerns about this plan of Chet's, and I appreciate the effort.
I raise my eyebrows towards you, and I lift the rope.
And while it is,
Fine.
while it sounds very clever, I feel like there's a lot of uncertainty here. One, we don't know what this doohickey will do when we get close to him, right? Two, we don't know if the Emperor knows what this doohickey will do to him if it gets close to him. We don't know if he does know whether he'll let us get close to him or not. There's a lot of uncertainty here, and that does not sit well with Guy. And so,
Chet will bring up the point that, look, Guy, there's always unknowns. There are a lot of factors in place. All we can do is figure out how to get inside.
sure.
I think that this is our best way inside. Once we get in, it's jazz. It's improv. We're gonna yes and our way through this.
I feel like there's a better way for us to get to the Emperor that is more in our control than on the whims of fate.
I would like to remind you guys that I have 0 points in deception.
That's perfectly fine. We only need a few people with deception, and then we can find an alternate way in for those that are less deceptive.
Somehow I have 4 in deception, so I am.
I believe that.
MFer. Question. Interlude. I'm not trying to. I'm not. I don't have a plan. I just wanted to ask. Are people with crystals in their heads common in Daiwa? Okay, we might need to put some makeup on that. Or
I
if
imagine
you have your hat, you had the hat that you wore in your used to be on your
art.
In the character art, I think.
Yeah, the goggles.
Yeah, that works. Yeah. Something to cover the headlamp.
So here's another proposition. Can we spend karma? How much karma do we have?
We have 4. We're back up to 4.
Okay, can we spend karma to have put together a disguise, like a golden lion disguise? That's what they're called, right? We dress Kyo in that. We each take, like, I'll take Guy, you take Ronto. Tied up. They have knives so they can get out. Or we've, like, putzed the rope to where they can just flex and bust out. Or Guy has a knife, and then Ronto can flex and bust out, because that makes more sense thematically to their characters.
That would be really cool to do.
I would let it go for, again, 3 karma that you remembered to bring. Hotaru no Koji was once the headquarters of the Golden Lions, and it could be said that there was leftover uniforms there you could have brought.
I feel like you're big and imposing. You could pass for a golden lion.
I mean, their armor is kind of hot, guys. I'm not gonna lie, it's on fire. So I'm excited. I'm excited. That was a Kyo. That was a Kyo comment. Kyo thinks the armor is badass.
Now that he's pulling out a book, I'm pulling out a book. Hold on. Let's look at this. Yo, that is pretty tight. I'm not gonna lie.
Come on. I mean,
you got a Kit Kat on your armor.
Yeah, it's got a little
big.
Got a little Kit Kat face.
Yeah, look at that. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Kyo can pull that off.
Yeah, that's hella tight.
Yeah.
Dog.
Kyo can pull that off.
Okay, so seems like a pretty good accommodation of Chet's plans and Kyo getting to dress up in cool armor.
Yeah, because Kyo's better at deception than I am. I have only 1 point. I didn't think that far ahead.
You're way too honest. You're way too honest, you monk.
You're more like a yell at people and make them feel bad kind of guy.
Yeah. I have 5 points in intimidation.
Uses the voice. Yeah, and then uses the voice.
So once we're in, if this plan goes off well, how do we get to the Emperor himself? Where is he most likely to be?
So, probably in the throne room, I assume. Or his bedchamber, depending on what time it is.
Well, Japanese palaces don't really have like throne rooms. They have like meeting, like court halls that they do meetings in, but that's about it. And they're usually like high up on the palaces.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm picturing our final showdown like the final boss fight of the game Jade Empire. So I'm really thinking more of like a Chinese palace.
Mm-hmm.
Could we persuade, if we're doing the prisoner thing, could we perhaps insist on a meeting with the Empire or the Emperor, that the prisoner has information, but I mean, I'm sure they'll tell us no, but we could at least try.
Unless the prisoner is holding out on information and will only give it.
And will only give it to the Emperor.
That's why I like my plan of action was leaning more towards present them to the Empire or the Emperor so that he can rain down his divine punishment.
Right.
Is that
where are you at on this, guy? What do you think? You're the secret weapon.
Right. So, here's the thing I'm thinking about is that in ninja school, we were taught that there are 2 forms of infiltration: soft infiltration and hard infiltration. Soft infiltration being like coercion and deception and right through the front door, right? And then hard infiltration by sneaking our way, by climbing rooftops, by using equipment to scale walls and everything. What you guys are usually good at. I'm usually better at Kyo, and I are usually better at the first one, right? However, we're not here to gather information or intel. We're here to confront the Emperor, and so we don't need to stick around for a long time. We just need to get in there and confront him. Beyond that, we are not really sure what's going to happen. And so we honestly could just find a way to scale the building, at least as far as we can, and then make our way on the inside to get the rest of the way up there.
I mean, that's not a bad idea either. I can do whatever we need to do. Just
now, that being said, it would probably be best if we get someone on the inside first to scope out the landscape in order to have the most expedient way to get to the Emperor. And so I feel like we get an inside man. I recommend Kyo because apparently I'm too valuable to do things. And so if Kyo can get in there...
You can.
You can, but if you get caught...
I don't like this. I don't like the risks of that. That sounds a little too risky, and I don't want to... If I'm going to be the trump card, I would rather not waste it early on.
Yeah, and I mean, so, I could definitely probably get in there somehow. I could talk my way in.
If I recommend Kyo get inside, become an inside man, and like maybe play yourself off as one of the workers, get a lay of the land, all right? Occasionally come back to us to report your findings, and then for Ronto and Chet, maybe what you guys can do is under the cover of night, scope out the perimeter of the palace, look for any egress points that can be easily scaled, and meanwhile, I can stick around. I noticed the warehouse on the way in. I was planning on possibly going over there to get some resources to make something that could potentially help us infiltrate this palace.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could make one of those traps or like a bomb or something that goes off and causes a distraction.
What I'm thinking about is actually maybe. So here's the thing: we've all seen those new, like, wait, actually, out of character, do rifles and other firearms, however primitive, still exist at the moment?
Yes,
Oh, yes,
yes,
big time.
because
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought.
the Emperor has a whole group called the Engineers, and
That's
they
what I
are
thought.
black powder. They do all kinds of stuff. I've played one of those characters.
I
Got
think we fought against some people with guns.
Yeah. Slight.
Yeah, there's the Black Smokes, which are a group that specializes in, black powder weaponry, and then the engineers as well.
Slight
Then, go on.
suggest of a revision to the plan. Kyo gets in with the guard, or whatever, like people inside the palace. It's kind of chummy with all of them. Finds out which ones like to hang out in the red light district at night. Tells me about them. I could hang out there, like, get their lips loose and find maybe like points of egress that way. Because I'm not that sneaky, but like Ronto is sneaky, so Ronto
Okay.
could like do the perimeter, and I could like do the people angle while Kyo's on the inside.
I'm gonna I've never had the opportunity to use this, y'all. And I know that you're not finished with your plan, Twan.
No worries.
I have an ability called Stone Like Clay that I've had for like all season, and I've never had to use it. Until the end of the scene. It's a jutsu, of course, so I'd have to roll for it. But essentially, stone, rock, and non-metallic earth is as soft as clay for the user until the end of the scene, which means I can move it. Like, I can just dig at it and move it out of the way, but it's still heavy for everybody else. But so, I mean, I'm not saying that that's like super useful, but if like we need a quick bloop into something, I think mechanically it could work as like I could essentially dig into walls. As long as it's not metal.
We can make our way in.
Yeah, I can drill in with my hands.
Oh, it's
And
good to know.
Absolutely. So you guys tell me what you want to do. How's this going to start?
In that case, to kind of finish out the rest of my plan, Chet, you might be able to help me out with something else instead if you're not feeling particularly sneaky. Ronto can continue doing the sneaky part of this.
Sure.
But, Chet, I could use your arm because we're going to be doing some steel crafting.
All right.
Ooh.
I'm thinking. Here. Follow me out real quick. Our grappling hooks can only be used as far as we can throw them. But what if we shove one in to a gun?
Ooh.
I've already taken my shirt off and I'm standing near a roaring fire. Let's do this.
I see you found a reason to take off your shirt.
There we go.
You can use the metal from the workout equipment in Chet's walk-in closet / gym.
Guy is going to be the inventor of the grappling gun.
Nice.
Now, be mindful. If this goes wrong, it could explode in our faces. So, but that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I think
So,
it's
do we
worth
kn-
it.
Do we
I
know
think-
our
I think-
roles?
I think so, yeah. So I just need to go and pretend to be something in the palace. I can do that.
Get a feel of the layout and where we can easily get in and how and have the shortest route to the Emperor.
And I'm stealthing on the outer walls by night.
In order to kind of connect the dots between the outside to where Kyo is able to find. Basically, you two need to collaborate together to find how to connect the dots.
In this
I think
way,
we can do that.
you can still wear the Golden Lion outfit, and then after we do all this infiltration, maybe we could still do like my plan. But we don't have to do my plan. I just really like my plan.
Yeah, it was a great plan, Chet, and we're saving it. We're saving it.
Maybe
Okay.
we can, if there's time, you can lasso somebody and go, oh, look, we got a prisoner, and we can make a plan out of that.
Yeah, and to be honest, we don't necessarily have to rush this. I mean, it is a war, but it's not like the Emperor's going somewhere, like, tomorrow.
Yeah, we have the initiative. They don't know we're here, so we got the time needed to scope this out properly and to make sure that we get our most successful plan of attack. Because I don't want to think about the idea of flubbing any part of this.
I agree.
That'd be some shit though. It's like you get in, it's like, yo, where's the Emperor? Oh, Emperor's not here, mate. Yeah, he's on vacation. Yeah, you went on holiday to where I'm from.
Which we're still trying to figure out.
It's my
accent that's not quite
Australian Kingdom.
That's my favorite of the Japanese dialects.
That's my favorite of Oceania.
We're from a fantasy world. Accents are different.
You're
right.
not wrong. I feel like I had a question, GM, and I'm trying to think of what it was. Where is Tomoe?
Tomoe.
She's not here, right?
No.
Okay. I was just making sure. For some reason, I thought she was here.
Oh no.
But
She's
yeah,
last story was that she was either, if she's not in the capital, at Hotono Koji, she was in the land of crashing waves.
Okay, that's the one. Okay, cool.
So how are we starting this off?
Well, I think we all need to sleep first because this was dinner time. So in the morning, I will make my way. I will kind of head out into the city and keep my ears open and see if I can find a way to fall into a group of something in the palace and work my way in. Talk my way into an area I'm not supposed to be.
Or, if you even have to, forcibly adopt someone's identity.
And
I could do that too.
who's that guy that I murdered? Who was part of the Golden Lions? Did we get his name? You could take his identity. He's not using it anymore. He's dead.
Do they know he's dead?
Not the guy we blew in half, right?
It was in the last episode. It was in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was during the big conflict. We fought a golden lion.
I was thinking of the key sniffer guy, the ogre or whatever.
No.
Key sniffer.
It's like, dang, he's been gone for a while.
That's a term.
I'm like,
I can't remember his name.
I'm with that. I'm half banking on the fact that maybe word of exactly who died in that battle hasn't made its way back yet.
That is a hope. I don't know what kind of sorcery the Emperor has.
Now, could we just do the old grab someone, pull them into a bush, and steal their outfit kind of thing, and just, tie them up somewhere? Find someone a little more fresh?
I mean, that could be. If we did that, I would probably need one of you to come with me.
Me and Guy will start converting the garage into a forge.
Ronto, you help me.
Yeah.
knock someone out. So we have to find somebody who's at least relatively my size.
I think we could find someone your size.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and start off with finding somebody. Now, you're just looking for staff, or are you looking for a soldier? Who?
Do you really want to go with, like, does it have to be golden lion armor, or
It doesn't. It really doesn't. I'm fine if I can find someone. I mean, I have some really nice clothes, but I can dress down a little bit if I need to be part of like some type of. Does the Emperor have any children that might have staff or anything like that? Or are they all dead? They're all dead, aren't they?
The only one who has staff currently is going to be sorry. In chat. Sorry, I shouldn't pay attention. But
no, you shouldn't.
The only one who is still currently alive is Crown Prince Kano, and he is the general of the army, and he would not be here with what's happening on the border currently.
Okay, nope, that's fine. Then I'm gonna say, yeah, I just want to find somebody. Maybe there's an area where people start to go into the palace walls. You know, where workers head to their morning duties, and we'll wake up early before, sunrise, the wee hours of the dawn, and go see what we can figure out.
Now we need a uniform that will also keep you concealed. Because all it takes is one person going, I don't recognize you.
That's where my deception comes in, and I'm hoping that I can kind of sweet talk my way into a couple things. I'll just say I was, a new person, and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but when we were in that one city that had like the strip mines and everything, and I came in as the toy salesman. Mm-hmm. I had like soldiers completely convinced that I was exactly who I said, and I mean I was. Yeah. But I think we can do this.
Oh, you mean the town where we killed that guy?
Yeah.
And then later we killed that guy's brother?
Yep. That's the one.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we're in the middle of a war. I only remember
Koga ran away.
I only remember locations by who we killed there.
I only recognize my kill count.
Yeah.
Nice.
My KD is 7.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this started. And I'm gonna say I'm looking for 3 successes to take out somebody unnoticed. And I would probably be looking for a stealth and stealth roll or a skill of some sort. Let me go ahead and double check on that.
Stealth is the skill, and Ronto has it.
I might wager stealth and might as a sneak attack to pull them into whatever hiding space I am in. I also get a +1 on my stealth when I hide in areas where bigger people normally can't hide. So if I went into like a small brush or like some crates and stuff like that, dragged them down, knocked them out, pulled them away for Kyo. That would be my plan.
All right, let's go ahead and start off with that roll.
Okay, I'm so mighty, and I am so stealthy. 4 and 5. Okay, that is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7 successes.
So you get a boost out of that.
6, 7, 8 successes. Sorry, 8 successes.
So if I said 3, that's still only 1 boost.
Good.
Just 1 boost, yes.
But do you want to trade that boost in for anything, like any special boost powers, or do you want to trade it in for a karma?
Since Kyo's kind of taking on the next step of this, I'd kind of take that up with Roxy. Do you think you want to use this boost to potentially help you in your disguise?
Yeah, probably, because I am good at deception, but I'm not entirely sure what disguise would be. So, but yeah, I want to kind of fall into the role.
I I would maybe also recommend the streak bonus ability with boosts.
Which is?
You describe a opening that you provide to, to Kyo, based on you now have these clothes. It'll lower the difficulty of your upcoming test, which I'm going to tell you. Getting into the castle, I was looking at a 4. Use the boost for this, for the streak bonus, I'll lower it to a 3.
Okay. So describe how I make an opening for her and she gets a bonus.
Yep.
Okay. As I pull in this guard and kind of drag them back off to you, get you the uniform so you can get changed. I think because Kyo is now pretty much flying solo on my, while I was there grabbing the guard, I also spotted like an entrance for like staff that's not being used right now, that this person was kind of already hanging around, probably about to go in and out of. So once I've kind of locked down that main entry point, I'll get out of there with this body, find a place to kind of hide them for now, and you now have your entrance.
Nice. Sounds good.
Cool. I just made a new friend.
All right. So let's get you into the palace. Let's go ahead and have you do your roll for that. How are you going to go about this? Deception, stealth, or?
I was gonna say deception, intuition, to see if I could. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna go with intuition. I feel like intuition would be better to kind of be able to intuit my way around and knowing what I know about other kind of, been in some diplomatic situations, so I have been in certain types of palaces and things like that, so I'm going to try to just tap into some of that gut feeling and see what I can do. I got 3 on the nose.
There you go. They hesitate for a moment, but the person you're impersonating is already a little bit late to their duties, so they wave you in pretty quickly.
Yes. Apologies.
All right. Moving on. Who is next?
If
Why don't
you want to, I was gonna say if you want to draw the blueprint or the forge, I can go out and get materials.
I was thinking the exact same thing, and I was thinking that one, we're definitely gonna need metal, and two, we're gonna need a gun. All right, and so getting the metal is fine. I'm sure. Can we say that Kyo left us some of her finances to afford the materials?
Absolutely.
If it's not already on the wagon.
Right. As for
This
the
is
gun,
the Empire. It's not going to be hard to get a gun.
I figured that I specifically wanted this task for you, Chet, because I know how much you like forcibly acquiring things from other people.
I like how the Empire is the Texas of this world.
Right. That's what it.
I've been trying to get to Ninja Texas this entire game.
Who knew? I mean, I guess essentially Daiwa is Bucky's.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I can't drink whenever, any of y'all are talking, because it's going to be dangerous.
I put 10 gold pieces on the counter. 1 gun, please.
Let's go ahead and get a roll on that.
Okay. Okay.
I'm actually going to
I'm
say
thinking...
it's a little bit difficult because they're like, why do you need a gun here, of all places? This perfectly manicured, wonderful city. So I'm setting the difficulty at 4.
Okay, I'm gonna use knowledge and can I do discipline to like come up with a reason why it's like this? Like, well, I guess knowledge would be for coming up with the reason. Discipline would be for keeping my cool in this situation.
Let's go for it. Yeah.
All right, can I use a karma, guys? I want to roll 10 dice.
Yeah, we're that's our last one, but go for it.
Cool.
I am a little surprised that he didn't try to actually take it from a guard that was equipped with a gun.
No, you can just buy one legally. It's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 5, 6. That's a 0 is the good one.
Yes, it is. All right, so 6 total. It doesn't get you a boost, but you do succeed. He's like the shop owner is like, he gives you a long pause, but then he's just like, I know what you're looking for, and he pulls out of a barrel a rifle, and he's just like, technically, you know, I'm not supposed to sell these, but you look like an honest sort, and yeah, here you go.
You know what? Here I wink at him. It's just like, you didn't sell it. You gave this to me as a gift. I just happened to leave some money on the counter.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're both really generous guys. Just a couple of good fellas.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and go with moving on. What are we going to do next? Are we going to go ahead and do the forging next and getting this set up?
Well, we need to do. I was thinking of actually designing the blueprint, and then maybe the actual forging would be a combined skill test between me and
Chet.
Chet.
For that strength. Need
Yeah,
that might.
you come up with the blueprint, and then we'll montage, and we'll have a grappling hook.
Right. As for the actual building of the blueprint, I did want to do a little bit of preparatory bit to kind of increase my chances of doing this. We're going to the warehouse. I would like to speak with several of the blacksmiths in the area about metallurgy and smithing. And after hearing all the bits of advice they could give me, I would like to then do a clan-specific jutsu of mine.
All right.
Nice.
It is called Preserve the Words, which means that the information I get will become a new tattoo on my skin, which will help me remember that information when I actually craft the blueprints for this.
Sounds cool. But let's go ahead and what is the kickback, or what is the fallout for the jutsu if it doesn't go off?
I basically get a headache. I get a -1 penalty to all my intuition checks for the remainder of the team.
All right. I'm going to want a jutsu test then to go ahead and do that. And then also remember, jutsus have a physical, the usage of ki has a physical manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
So for it not to draw oh, yes, sorry.
I was just going to say that's why I want to get the information, then on my way out, find like a duck into a little corner, and then do the jutsu.
I'll want a either deception or stealth test for that.
Sure thing. And so deception stealth. Let's go. Let's see here. Let's do stealth and speed, if you don't mind, to find an appropriate space. And so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wait, hold on. I counted the 8 instead of counting it as a 1 success. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 successes.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn those into 2 boosts.
Woo! Let's
And-
use them for our forging.
Right?
There you go. And even if you got the headache at this point, it'll probably wear off by the time anything goes down.
Right.
So let's go ahead and just get your blacksmithing on.
All right then. And so, maybe knowledge for actually designing the thing, and then as for Chet, I'm not sure. Maybe like athletics or
I was thinking,
or like might.
I was thinking fortitude.
Mm-hmm. To do the heavy lifting of actually like making and forging
Yeah.
metal.
Like bending stuff and, you know,
Mhm.
be breathing in all the smoke. Because we don't have proper ventilation, maybe. No, we do. You got a lot of successes. We have proper ventilation.
Best ventilation.
But it is really hot.
Yeah. Actually, I think might works better. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to use one of your boosts to give me an extra dice.
Sure thing. Which is perfectly fine because I'll still be rolling 8 dice for my half of this.
Wow.
Nice.
4 normally. The Jutsu gets me a +3 on this knowledge test, and 1 boost gets me an extra for 8 total dice in my half.
Wow.
I got 2.
Wow, I only got 3 successes. Alright?
How many?
We don't have any more.
That's a legendary success.
Sure.
No
But
reroll.
legendary success with no okay, so yeah, we'll keep it there at 5.
I'm confident that that's
Absolutely. You have created the first grappling gun.
Woo! We're Batman, guys.
So you guys create this grappling gun, then Ronto rocks in with like a dude in his underoos over her shoulder, and it's like, guys, I've never kidnapped anybody before. What do I do with him?
Oh no! She
Don't-
got him back.
Don't bring him back to the hideout.
I
No,
mean,
it's
I didn't
fine,
want to
it's
leave him.
It's fine. I got rope.
Okay.
Hold on. Maybe we should all pretend that we've all been knocked out and kidnapped and wake up at the same time that he wakes up.
Or we put him into one of the rooms in his large estate, and we never walk in until we're ready to let him loose.
Oh,
I'm fine.
Schrodinger's
I just didn't know if we
kidnapping.
were like, yeah, I just didn't know if we were cool, like, with just kidnapping and then killing people. I assumed we didn't have to go that hard on just a dude who, happens to work at the palace. However, he cannot be allowed to get loose because Kyo is wearing his clothes right now.
I think we'll be fine. We're not planning on sticking here for. We're ideally not going to be sticking here for terribly long. So we'll confront the Emperor. Once we're done with that, we'll come back, set him loose, and we'll be like ghosts on the wind.
Okay.
no.
Nice.
I'm gonna put him in Chet's room.
Wait, what?
You said the biggest room, right?
I didn't say that.
Oh. I'm still gonna put him in Chet's room. He's got that walk-in closet thing. And I'm gonna go tie him up and put him in Chet's closet.
Okay, but make sure to gag him. I can't sleep when people are crying.
She'll do that.
All right.
We took our first prisoner, guys.
Yay! And you really didn't hurt him. You just, incapacitated him.
He might have been hurt a little bit.
It's not
but-
like you impaled him with a tree.
Yeah. He should be thankful.
So, you have your grappling gun. You got your people stowed away. What are you going to do?
We have to test the grappling gun. So
I mean,
at night,
Do you?
I mean, do we
don't-
want to have that be?
don't.
No, it'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll say they
Oh,
got it got rolled into the montage of creating this thing.
yeah, there was one time we fired it and it took my pants and I was just standing there in my boxers, and so we had
Yep.
to retool it.
There's
Yep.
like a scene where you you pull the trigger, it doesn't go, and then you just like click it like 50 times, all of a sudden it goes boom.
Uh,
There's one time we click it and like a little flag that says "bang" unfurls out, and guy just laughs at Chet.
We are so precious.
I just assumed y'all would be going somewhere and shooting these spiders with skulls on their bodies, and with your hook shot.
Oh no, I like it. But so I think the last part of our grand scheme is Ronto scoping out and completing the first the other half of the infiltration.
Yep. That is
Alright.
what I'm gonna do then. And I'm gonna leave Camu here because he's not the most discreet dog. Yes. Okay, so let's see.
Oh, David just hit 100,000 Cthulhu's, so he's just loading us up with karma.
Ooh.
Oh,
Thank you, David, for
That's
them.
some time. Thank you.
You have a GM
Thank
karma
you.
from Chet.
Okay. So I mean, my plan is pretty straightforward. I haven't deviated from what we discussed earlier. I'm gonna start scoping out the insides. I also might, because I'm sure there's like Night Watch kind of doing their runs. If I happen to get lucky and can pick up on any of that, I might hang in certain places and see if I can pick up on anything juicy pertaining to our mission. Juicy. Let's see. So, with that in mind, if I'm also trying to gather intel, can I call it a stealth and perception check?
Let's
Okie
do it.
dokie.
Now, how exactly are you going about this, though? Because are you? The palace is walled off. There are actually, as you approach the palace, there are several different walled sections of city. Each one of which can, in the case of any form of invasion, can be completely sealed. So you make your way through each one of those, and the one for the actual palace is sealed off. There is a single small door that they're allowing staff and soldiers in and out.
How scalable does the wall look? Is it totally like slick?
Stone about 40 feet high.
Stone 40 feet high. And are there any tall trees nearby? Anything to kind of give you a ledge?
I will say that will require a test. I would say a difficulty of 3, and maybe an expenditure of 1 point of karma to find a tree that they didn't realize might put you within range.
We do have 5 points of karma right now, so.
Yeah, because it would be either that or just take an old-fashioned grappling hook that wasn't going to make a big boom and just kind of like climb my way up, but I'd be afraid of damaging the wall and causing a scene that way.
I think using the karma to find a tree would be
Yeah.
good, because then, God forbid, but if we had to do it multiple times, we have a common way up. And if you do run into trouble and you let me know, then maybe I can like find a way up there later and stone like clay and make a notch or something that's easier for you to grab onto or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah, your clay thing. Okay, one other idea, and you tell me if this sounds like...
It's just a pocket. It's a pocket ability that I have that we can use whenever.
Okay, I was gonna say, so tell me if this sounds too risky. If, when you're on your way out and I'm on my way in, if you wanted to use the clay technique to just open up so that we can pass by each other. Or do you want to risk doing the jutsu and getting caught? Or not risk doing the jutsu and getting caught?
Oh, I don't mind. I mean, I'm sure I can find a place that would be... I'm sure the GM can give me a roll to make to find a place that would be secure enough that I could do a jutsu.
And that's totally up to you.
Yeah, no, I'm good. As long as the walls aren't metal, I can do it for a scene is the language of the ability. So
Okay.
Sounds like I kind of do whatever I want. So-
Yeah, without
Okay.
outside the context of roleplay, absolutely, a scene can last as long as it needs to.
well, and the other thing that's kind of nice is I also have that penetrating senses jutsu, so I can kind of see on the other side if I
You
need
can
to.
find me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. I like more teamwork.
All right, so
using our
oh no, I was gonna say, so where are we starting out? Who's starting?
I guess, do we have to pop off your jutsu first, or do you want me to go ahead and do my stealth?
Why don't you do your stealth and then I will do the penetrating senses jutsu to try to locate you without leaving the building.
Okay. Then I'm still gonna maintain since this is more about getting in, I guess I'll do athletics and stealth as opposed to perception and stealth. It'll give me a little bit more of a chance.
And since we already spent that karma and it was for a tree thing, can we just apply it to this that somehow we just happen to find
if
each
you
other?
Sure.
If you want to use it for a bonus dice or whatever for the roll.
Yeah, do that then.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, let's do this. Okay, that's gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 successes. Oh my gosh, this is so much nicer than last time when I was rolling like butt.
Dang, 8 successes. That's really good.
Wow.
So 2. So I'm giving you
But-
one boost.
Got it.
Cool. All right, then I would like to do penetrating senses, which is yin plus perception, and that will allow me to make sure that nobody's on the other side of that wall that I'm gonna dig through in a second. Is that cool?
All right, yeah, absolutely. Let's also get either a deception or a stealth check out of the way that nobody pays attention to you.
Okay, so again, can I do intuition deception?
Yes, you can.
I'm just like on pins and needles right now.
Pins and needles.
Mm-hmm.
All the pins and needles. 3 successes, 2 7s, and a 9.
Woo.
All right. You find you draw no attention. You don't get any boosts, but nobody's paying attention to you. You're fairly certain you found a out-of-the-way location to activate all this.
Cool. Okay. Then here we go. Let's do the senses, which is. But it's just a pass-fail, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, you pass no matter what. It's about whether or not you have the fallback mechanic go off.
Right. The God damn, what's it called? It's
Kickback?
backfire. That's the one. Okay, so penetrating senses, yin plus perception. It's a base. I guess it does depend on what level it is, right? So I need 2 successes for it to go off, and not get the backfire. And so my yin is 2, so I can see through 2 feet of barriers. So as long as the outer wall is not thicker than 2 feet, I should be okay.
Oh no, it's 2.1 feet.
Okay, I only got 1 success. So, what is the backfire?
You'll have to look up for the jutsu family for that jutsu, and it'll give you a overall backfire. Some jutsus have a personal one, but most of them it's just like the overall. Hopefully it's not that. It's the entire thing doesn't work.
Okay, let's see. It's really not that bad. yang until it matches my yin value. So, so I just used yin, which took it down 1, right? So I lose 2 yang. So I only have 1 yang left. And that's it.
All right, so the first one, you get the backfire, but you are able to see through the wall, and you see that there are no guards nearby.
Sweet. So now I can do the stone like clay and dig through. Now, spending yin and yang doesn't take away my dice pool, right?
It does not change the dice pool. It changes the amount of points you have. Your dice pool will always be at a certain level, and then the points thereof are going to fluctuate up and down. If you need more points to actually kick off power, you can always channel more ki.
I need to mold it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that since I've got 1 point of yang, that I'll be able to do this and go on from there. Can I use a karma just to give me that little extra?
I allow it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what happens. Again, this one is a basic. So I need 2, and I got a 10, so that's 2.
Perfect. All right, you claw through the wall and create a opening that she could come through if you so desire, or however you choose to describe it.
Yeah, no, I'll make it big enough for Ronto and maybe Kamu to come through.
I'm gonna leave Kamu behind just because he's he's a little he's a giant dog.
He is.
And I think I might be potentially scaling some things and trying to find my routes. So Kamu will stay behind with the guys, or can even escort you back.
Okay, yeah, no, that works. That works.
Cool.
I'll clock out for my shift, and I'll start to head home.
Cool.
Well, there's something I did want to say, but I'm not sure if
okay.
it's metagaming if I were to mention it, since I'm not there with you.
I mean, at worst, it would probably cost karma.
Now I'm curious.
I have no problem with it. I mean, it's not like y'all have had opportunities to plan and conversate, but I don't mind. What were you going to point out?
Did you actually find where the Emperor likes to hang out?
Yeah, I was supposed to be the lay of the land, so...
Yeah, lay of the land, and the quickest way to get to it. Yeah.
So
can I make a roll for that?
I was going to say, I mean, this isn't exactly something that's going to be hard to do. It is a larger, palisade structure. Think of it as there are steps going up to a central platform. The entire bottom floor is soldiers, workers. There is actually a staircase descending down to quarters where people are cooking, doing laundry. It's mainly like the different servant jobs to keep them out of the way and unseen. There are 2 floors above this one where there are visiting dignitaries are usually supposed to stay there, but they're pretty empty. There are lightly patrolled by officers. You would have been one of them that would have been expected to go on patrol through there, just making sure nobody else is there that's not supposed to be. And it's on the 3rd floor is quarters, and the 4th floor is a grand meeting room and audience chamber. And the Emperor is said to be there with several other dignitaries of the Empire.
Nice. Okay, yeah, I will bring all of that information back to Guy. And, and everyone when we're all together again.
I will say this, the most direct route, you are either making your way up this again, sneaking, or you are scaling the exterior. There are, I don't want to say it's, it's that level by level, palace structure with roofs, slate tiles from what you can see, possibly terracotta. But that would probably be around the same amount of time, but a lot less people if there's anyone out there at all.
Sure.
So you're,
Well,
I was going to say that having the hole on the base level is a good point of entrance. If we want to if we want to go in two different ways. So I still think that is a good thing to have. But yeah, having the grappling hook and being able to get on the roofs is also probably us splitting up a little bit and meeting somewhere is probably the safer bet, so we're not like 4 kids Scooby-Dooing through the halls.
4 kids in a trench coat.
So, real quick, I don't think we actually discussed this part of the plan, but I think we would have talked about it. Was there any real reason for you to come back to us? Because since you're already inside, you may as well just stay inside and wait for us to get to you, right?
I mean, if they're... Yeah, I guess my thought was if we weren't doing this right now, I would come home like at the end of my shift. But yeah, if y'all are gonna meet me there, then yeah, I'll just hunker down in that area where I was secretly, there. So I guess I wouldn't have had to leave. That Ronto would have just met me inside, and then we could have started to... Well, how would you know then? I would have to come back at some point. Right?
Because you know that I use a fairly elaborate network of
oh, that's right. I
spies and networks and messenger pigeons and whatnot to convey things over distance. So
yeah. If there's an urchin or a creature that I can tie a note to its leg, I can definitely do that.
If we
tie a
or
note
just
to the
give it
urchin's
to
leg.
Kamu. I could just give it to Kamu and let Kamu go back.
Yeah,
just throw just throw
Kamu.
just throw a kunai towards Kamu, and he'll just catch it with his jaws and then trot back to us.
Exactly.
We're ninja, remember? We gotta think smart.
Loves fetch.
Just don't bring it back to me, bud.
He knows better. He's smart.
I mean, he has a brain cavity in his skull the size of your head.
It's true.
So,
but yeah, just when all the pieces are put in place, I think that better not to dawdle. So we would.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Yep. Chet.
Okay.
Guy gets the note, looks over to Chet. Chet cocks the grappling hook and is like, "Let's go."
All right. So, Kamu, you know the way. Lead us
It's
on.
a shotgun grappling hook.
We
Not
had
Kamu,
to.
Ronto.
I bought a rifle, but we modded it into a shotgun.
You made sure that it had that pump action on it.
Yeah.
Well, no, it could have been a lever action. It could have been a lever action rifle.
Those look cool too.
Mm-hmm.
And they get
Yeah,
even crazier with it. Put a silencer on it.
I do
just
that.
grappling hook, yeah.
I do that really cool thing where I flip the whole gun around my hand to do the lever.
Yep. And with the silencer on the grappling hook, it just
Spitting out a toothpick.
Just see this, it looks like a pillow flying through the air with twine behind it.
He grabs the wall and it's just like...
Oh yeah, we just put our socks over the hooks.
It has a hard time clamping, but it gets the job done.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
It's super quiet.
It's the world's worst grappling hook.
It wasn't until we decided to make it stealthy.
I grab Guy by the waist, and the gun reels us up to the roof.
I don't think it's that sophisticated.
You just push a button and it's like...
It's got a winch in it. Yeah, Yeah, it's going real slow.
Oh,
Ronto's just watching you guys go up like, what the fuck?
It's one of those hand-operated ones, and so I'm on Chet's back, and Chet is just slowly winching us up.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
no, we like hybrided a rifle and a fishing rod.
See,
I'm
I
gonna
was
go find that tree again. I'll meet you
I was
guys
more
around.
expecting, you know, when you said wench, it's like you shoot the grappling hook and you hold on to this lady standing next to you. She's like, "Okay, give me a few moments. I'll get us up there soon."
This gun comes with everything. You get a wench
It's the
too.
best gun ever. She
Look.
passes out mugs of beer and then just
She
starts
calls you
crawling
honey.
up,
Chet has
climbing
now
the rope.
Chet has now deeply ingrained himself within the scene of underground crime and within the Empire.
Oh my god, I forgot what we were doing.
He's in too deep. We're breaking and entering.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Emperor. That immortal.
And then we're gonna be breaking and exiting. And then we're going to be breaking and putting it back together to make it look like it isn't broken, but it totally is.
And no one will ever know the wiser.
We're professional.
I just love the idea of you guys slowly climbing up the rope
All right.
past the windows.
But more seriously, you're saying, John.
Marksmanship and
Okay.
probably perception or intuition.
How's your marksmanship guy?
Oh, not good.
You have more than no points.
I have 1 point.
That's more than no points.
Listen. I
have one too.
I developed the progression of my character with Takumi in mind.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Don't you all have a boost reserved?
Oh yeah, Ronto got a boost.
And how much karma do we have left?
We
just
have
got some.
3 karma left.
Okay.
So I will say this: in exchange for the boost, you find a location where the wind will help to carry the, or at least not hinder the shot. I was going to put the difficulty at a 3. I will let you put it at a 2.
Okay.
Alright.
So, do you want to use some of that karma guy? If you do marksman and I do perception, I have 3 in perception.
Well, I have 3 in perception too. So yeah, you go ahead and do it.
Okay.
And so I'll spend a karma for 2.
And
Sounds
yep,
good.
All right.
You got this.
let's do it. I got 1.
3
Nice.
successes.
Dang,
Yes.
3 successes
got-
on 2 dice.
I got nervous.
Nervous in service.
Happens.
Okay.
Happens to everybody.
Does anyone remember that one scene from Family Matters where is it Family Matters with Urkel?
Yes.
Yes, and he's playing basketball, and then you suddenly see the calculations, and then he,
Yep,
that's
that was
this
that was
moment.
Guy.
It's all about the calculations.
Yeah, I point where to shoot, and you do the math.
I do. I did the math.
The math hath been done.
The shot goes over. You begin to scale the wall. I won't require a test for that, but we'll see if we can get everybody to meet up. What about the two of you? What for Ronto and Kyo? What are you doing?
Well,
So
wasn't
once I-
Ronto with us though?
Did
No,
I
Ronto's
return
with
to
you.
Kamu
report?
was.
Oh,
Kamu
that's right,
was.
Kamu.
Or Kamu brought you the note back. Yeah.
Yeah, Kamu came to us with the note.
Ronto
Yeah.
got into the building through the hole I dug. So
Yeah.
we probably have moved up to the top because in the note I would have said, hey, meet us here. This is the best way to get in,
Got it.
the most direct route. And then drew a little, like, map.
And then I'm gonna be like, we're in.
I see you, bud. We were waiting here for you. So, I mean, he's kind of this way. I've been keeping an eye on the patrols throughout the day, and we should be good for about the next, 15 minutes. I also kind of talked to the guy that should be doing this route and kind of talked my way onto it. So hopefully we have even longer than that, but we'll have to see.
All right.
Guy,
Is everyone? Oh, go on.
as you're getting closer and closer to the palace, you notice that there are dramatic shifts in the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Storm
I like
clouds
that.
begin to form.
I definitely don't like that.
By the time you've made it up and over the palisade outside and for this wall, it is now beginning to rain. And in
None
your
of this I
head,
like.
you are beginning to you're thinking to yourself, the spirits that you spoke to were the spirits of both, all land and all water. And you are beginning to believe that as you are drawing closer to the Emperor, the forces of that spiritual energy is affecting the world around you. And that is what your role would have told you. If you remember what we talked about at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
My uncle was right. The government can control the weather.
Chad, I don't think that's the government doing this.
So, oh, go ahead.
I was wondering if I could do some sort of like insight check to kind of interpret this, or like an intuition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see here. Maybe intuition knowledge.
Yeah, intuition knowledge sounds great.
All right. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to kind of figure out what's going on.
Okay. You think that this is a portion of either... how many successes total was that?
7.
Okay, yeah, you don't even have to guess. You are the focal point of energy. And either as you draw closer and closer and closer to the Emperor, that energy is either going to lash out and destroy him, or it's at least going to sever his ties to immortality. And with all that, you also are beginning to realize that this storm is widespread, and it will mask your actions here at the palace. Probably nobody else is going to realize what is happening. The deluge will be so complete and probably so loud that you're going to be able to act with impunity.
Does it seem like the increasing intensity of the storm is a sign of any potential danger to any of us, or even me?
It's hard to say. I mean, worst case scenario, you end up being the channel or focal point of a lightning strike.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that at all.
That's pretty drastic.
It's pretty cool, though.
It's really cool to be a lightning rod.
Yeah.
Not many people can say that. They've done that.
You guys just hear a guy going, "This is bad. This is all bad."
I would say it's not like the best situation, but what's on your mind, buddy?
We should probably get inside.
Let's keep going. We'll explain along the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so let's go ahead and make our way towards the Emperor. Do we run into any interference or any obstacles or difficulties?
Yeah, do we need to do another travel montage to get us there?
No.
Down the hall, around the kitchen.
You make your way to the 3rd floor, and by the time you're there, and we're actually going to be wrapping here in just a moment, so we can do this as the start of the next session.
Sounds good.
But the 3rd floor, there is nobody there as you arrive on it. And as you begin to make your way across, two individuals step out into your path. One presents themselves as it appears to be a person in high level Imperial garb. And they present themselves with a symbol that, Guy, you would realize this person is part of the more clandestine operations of the Emperor, on level with, say, the Hidden Strands. It's the seal of the Jadesmiths.
Mm.
The other person steps out next to him and is wearing glasses and carries a large rifle. And the individual, the Jadesmith, says, "Your plans will stop here. Captain Hazakawa, I take it that you can handle things from here." And he cocks this large weapon and says, "Consider it done." The Jadesmith says, "So be it," and pulls a sword. As he does, a wall of fog comes out of the shaft of the hilt and spreads at such a rapid rate it is near impossible to imagine. And you find yourself now on the third floor of this building, entirely encased to the point you cannot see your friends that were once next to you. And with that moment, we're going to go ahead and call this scene to a close and call it for the night so that we can start off fresh with the combat in the final moments.
Finale fight!
Mortal
All right.
Kombat!
So that is it. Toss back for Rue. If you remember back in the Wooden Dojo.
He was my commander.
Yes.
So y'all, if you own this book or you play this game and you have the Empire's Reign book, in it is a pre-gen character in the back whose name I don't remember off the top of my head, but is it? No, that's not my pre-gen. So I have a character in this in the Empire's Reign book that John had put in for me. That's her. And yeah, so I actually played her in the Wooden Dojo podcast with the Far Lane in there. And yes, there will be a vote for XP. Let me go ahead and get that set up. But yeah, and Aizawa was my. Yep, there I am.
We can take her.
Well, she's a good guy now. She works with the ninja. So yeah, she defected. But Aizawa was her commanding officer.
Oh, okay. I got that mixed up for a moment. Now I'm on track.
He's the head of the engineers under the Empire. So he's he's the head of that portion of their military. And
soon he's going to be the head of getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
All right, so really quick, let me grab the book here. We'll take care of some of the regular XP while everybody does the
yeah, I've got a 2-minute poll going. Actually, fun fact, because we did this, we got that character put in Empire's Reign like way back when John and I were dating / just getting engaged in things. I had created a character and a backstory for a Skull and Shackles Pathfinder game, and he ported that for this, but that's actually also the character I play on Tuesday nights in the pirate game. So so if you want the Ninja Crusade variant of Ace, then she's in the Empire's Reign book. and then John his pirate character is coming out in another book soon. So we're just not that original, guys. Sorry,
I
we
like
just
I like to think of it as I port my characters into other dimensions. But yeah, like
Yeah.
my pirate character is a bad guy in the upcoming Pandora Total Destruction book.
Spoilers.
That's cool.
well. And the thing about it is also that the guy who created that book, that game, is the guy who created our logo for this show for Growing Shadows. So it all ties back together one way or another.
Everything is
It's all
connected.
connected.
Yep. All right. So those who play, everybody who played tonight gets 1 point of XP. Congratulations.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
You showed up.
1 point if you during the game used one of your character's triggers. It's, a power or ability that is tied to your background.
I did not get to this time.
I feel like I did. Didn't you sneak into a place that you're not supposed to get into?
I
that
didn't
a
use
trigger?
that though.
Uh,
I mean, I think it counts for a gift or a trigger, doesn't it? But I didn't use any of them.
yeah, I feel like I didn't really do much this episode, so I didn't either.
I used a gift, but not a trigger.
That's okay. I feel like I'm gonna do a lot next episode, so
Yeah.
it'll balance out.
I
Yeah.
honestly think we almost never used that XP thing. I don't know if we've ever gotten one.
We
for that.
rarely do because it's only in the I don't know. There are sessions that I look back at where I really kind of do more planning to focus on one character each, and those are the ones that we usually see that happen.
Hmm.
But anyway, taking the spotlight, who during the game do you feel like really was an effective leader, or kind of stood out for a moment, had a humorous moment?
Guy.
Guy did
For
some
sure.
organizing for us.
I feel like this was a guy episode.
I mean, he's the weapon, so it makes sense that he kind of gets to plan our way. What way makes him feel the most comfortable to get to the end game.
All right, so that gets Guy 1 point that way.
Right.
Memorable moments. The way they do it in the book is everybody talks about, hey, do you remember this? Hey, do you remember this? Oh, I really like this moment. Essentially, is another way for everybody to get one more point of XP.
I mean, honestly, the whole grappling gun discussion was probably the best. So
The very out of game grappling discussion.
and
We all
Chet's booming
participated in
voice.
that one.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
It was bonding.
This truly is the road to hell.
Yes, exactly.
Lesson learned. What do you think your characters, each one of you, what did your character learn this episode?
Kidnapping is so much easier.
Oh my
Eh,
god, it is so much easier than I thought it was going to be. I could totally do it again.
I can impersonate anybody.
And I will.
Okay. What's the name of the city again?
Daiwa.
Daiwa.
Daiwa is just Duloc.
Yeah.
And finally, so there's going to be the chat poll, which went to Guy. Guy, you got the poll from the chatters out in Chatland. But for my players, who do you want to say had like the moment of the game? Who would you like to see getting an extra point of XP tonight?
I'd
Did
throw
we
it
not
at
already
Guy
do that?
again.
Yeah, I
It's
think I'm gonna
different.
throw it at Guy for the planning. Yeah.
Guy did do kind of like the whole Ocean's 11, okay, here's how it's going to go thing.
I will say,
Exactly.
Guy really stepped up tonight. Yes, you you had a very shining moment tonight. So
It's all
I've been
you,
waiting
man.
for a moment like this.
You get all that experience now. Level up.
I've been waiting for this moment.
Drink your juice.
awesome. All right, so that takes care of XP for the night. Next episode, we have our final moments of combat. And my goal is to have a wrap up at the end. So all my players, be thinking of what you think your characters would do if they survive. Uh, if at the end of the Ninja Crusade, where would your character go? What would they do? Where
I
would
have a
you
good
see
idea
them
already.
as as an adult now? Uh,
Think
yeah. So
I think I've got it.
be ready to share that at the end of next episode. So feel free to take your time and brainstorm on that. Uh, if you want to write something up that is, that is a narrative, feel free to do that as well. But with that said, I think this is a great point to call it. Thank you, everyone, so much out there in Chatland. Thank you for coming out for the penultimate episode. Next week is the finale. We hope to see you back. All right.
Good night.
Hi,
Bye,
Night,
everyone.
guys.
everyone.